Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear friends, I hope you all are well. Today, we will be discussing a new topic, that is selective dissemination of information. The concept of selective dissemination of information was a concept first described by Hans Peter Lund of International Business Machine, popularly known as IBM, in 1950s. Software was developed in many companies and government to provide this service in 1950s and 60s, which allowed distribution of items recently published in abstract journals to be routed to individuals who are likely to be interested in the contents. For example, the system at Fort Monmouth automatically sent out by a mail a different set of abstracts to each of about 1,000 scientists and engineers in the army depending on what they were working on. The selection was based on an interest profile, a list of keywords that described their interests. H. P. Lund defines SDI as a service within an organization which concerns itself with the channeling of new items of information from whatever sources to those clients within the organization where the probability of usefulness in connection with current work or interest is high. On the other hand, the service endeavors to withhold such information from clients where this probability is low. An intended objective is to prevent clients from being swamped by indiscriminate distribution of new information and to avoid the resulting danger of non-communicating at all. UNESCO, one of the popular global organization, defines SDI as the regular provision of scientific information to individuals or corporate users on predetermined subjects or interest profiles. Dr. S. R. Ranganathan defines SDI as documentation list on a specific topic anticipated to engage the attention of member of the parent body, while as Edmund Weaving defined SDI as it is the activity of supplying the clientele on a regular basis with requested specific type of information. The emphasis here is on specific. As such, it can be defined in a comprehensive sense that SDI is a type of current awareness service which, under optimum conditions, involves screening of documents, selecting of information exactly tailored to meet the specific research needs of each user or a group of users, and supplying the information directly to each individual or group so that user can keep abreast of the latest developments in the area of his specialization. Now we will discuss what are the different components and operational features of SDI. Providing SDI service involves several interlinked components such as user profile, document profile or bibliographic database, computer hardware or what we now call computer network, software, user interface. These are five components that play a very important role in offering SDI. We will discuss first user profile. User's profile states the specific information requirements of the user. This contains general information of the user like name, department, project, division, program, employee ID, phone, fax, contact email ID, and other such details. As far as the information requirements are concerned, this may be a series of one or more statements asked to furnish a brief description of his research topic. He may also give keywords, phrases, descriptors, classification numbers, etc. Whatever he knows, actually. A typical paper answering his needs is also given reading by which librarian knows the topic better. If he knows authors, institutions that carry out similar activity, such information is also collected. If the user has limitations about language of the original, he mentions the language that are acceptable. The librarian, through an interview, if possible, gets clarification if needed. Then a query is formulated which would work on the database that would be used for matching using the thesaurus and indexing vocabulary. While constructing the query, the librarian may decide what terms are to be chosen. Whether truncation or wildcards would be useful. Whether Boolean or free text queries are to be used. He would also keep in mind the limitations mentioned by the user. As a result of this exercise, he gets a suitable query depicting users' needs tailor-made with the reference to the database that would be used on, or in other words, for the SDI work. Now coming to the document profile, or also called bibliographic database. One of the prerequisites of selective dissemination of information service is availability of master database of bibliographic items in the library. This can be totally internally generated or totally outsourced, got developed by an outside agency, or the internal database may be supplemented with the inputs from outside databases. This database may contain bibliographic details and, where possible, abstracts too of various types of documents like books, journal articles, standards, patents, conference papers, theses, research reports, etc. The database would also have indexing facility based on keywords or descriptors. Various ways of indexing every word in the title or abstract, whole field, selected portions of specific fields are all possible. If an external database is used, the corresponding descriptors from the index of the database must be used while constructing the user profile. Now coming to the third component, that is computer hardware, or computer, nowadays what we call computer networks. Initially, SDI service was offered manually. Later, various automated systems were used, right from punched cards to mainframes to desktop PCs. Now, to render SDI, we need suitable computer systems in the library and users system connected via LAN or WAN. If SDI is offered using external databases, online connectivity is needed. Some decades ago, the database tapes updates used to be obtained on magnetic tapes at periodical intervals. They were mounted on local computer systems for SDI query processing. Now, we can perform SDI searching on host computers directly via online connection. Now coming to the fourth component, that is software. Software is required for running SDI. Apart from software needed for developing the master database, programs to run the SDI queries regularly and print out matches are needed. This may be developed internally or brought from outside vendors. Several integrated library automation packages have SDA component inbuilt into them. The fifth component is user interface. SDI systems that are sophisticated usually have user interface modules as a part of SDA software. The end user can enter his profile, modify it if need be, and get statistics on his usage, how many references were brought to his notes over a period of time, how many were relevant, etc. The intermediary, that is librarian, can formulate queries online, test the output, incorporate users' feedback, modify the query, etc. In these instances, proper user interface is essential. So these were 5 components that we need to run or provide selective dissemination of information. Now coming to the operational mechanism of SDI. The operations in SDI in a nutshell can be described as follows. SDI involves running the user query against a small set of recently updated records in a master database, thereafter printing out and distributing hits to the user. The user examines the output and gives feedback, stating whether the items retrieved by SDA matching software is relevant or not. Based upon the feedback from the user, the query is modified in the next batch of SDA operation improved query. The user gets copies of full text of the articles that are seen relevant in the SDA output and benefits by the same. As a first step, the librarian develops the database or procures the same from external sources. He then prepares the user's profile as outlined earlier. These 2 steps have been discussed already. The third step is matching. This involves executing the query as expressed in user profile with database subset. Here, query formulated is used in this SDA matching software. The query itself may contain Boolean operators, parentheses, truncation, wildcard searching features, command for limiting by language, form, etc. The next step is dispatching the output to the intended user and getting feedback. The matching record called hit are printed out and sent usually in duplicate to the user. Nowadays, the results are sent via email. The output consists of enough bibliographic data to identify and acquire the original publication. The query is repeated to show what query has been executed, or at least the profile number is given. Feedback from user normally consists of against each item a question whether the item is relevant, non-relevant, or do not know. Irrelevant items may be picked up as a result of improper questions, what we call query, wrong database upon which the query has been matched, and sometimes due to error in the database. Finally, in the fifth step, the query is modified based upon users' feedback, database selections, query proper, limiting factors are all looked into. The original record may be examined to get a clue for missing out useful record. With this, we have come to end of this video. I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you very much.